been able to piece together here for you. The scenes that we're aware of, okay, we do have Lieutenant Rudolph, Major Rudolph, I'm sorry, Major Rudolph. I hear you're on the phone with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Richard Ransom, thank you. I know this is a crazy night. Just bring us up to speed on the latest information you have about Ezekiel Kelly and where your efforts are concentrated right now in trying to find him.
So I don't have his location. We don't know where he's at right now, but I do have additional information as far as the tag number.
Okay.
It's going to be a silver or gray Toyota with Arkansas tag, Alpha Echo Victor, 63 Kilo.
Okay.
And AEV 63K.
Gotcha. We'll put that on the screen. Ezekiel Kelly, we have reporters, Major, who are out and about and are seeing large police presence, not only there at Poplar and Evergreen where there was a shooting, but also they're hearing choppers above the air, in the air, I should say, above Overton Square. Is that where you're concentrating your search right now?
Right now we're following up on several different locations. I don't have them right now. I don't have the exact locations.
Okay.
We're just trying to piece together all the information to find out which incident he's involved with.
Okay. Can you tell me, we've been trying to, do you know how many locations we're dealing with right now where he may have fired shots?
I don't. The last that I received was around 5 different locations. Like I said, we're trying to verify if he's responsible for those.
Right.
So again, the most important information is for people.
Yes, we need to get this guy. Absolutely. And we've been putting his face on the screen constantly tonight, hoping that will help you in your efforts to try and find Ezekiel Kelly. Again, the new information from Major Rudolph, Arkansas tags AEV 63K. You say a Toyota SUV. Do you know the particular model? I know the make is Toyota, but do you know which kind of SUV Toyota makes that he's...
I do not yet. The tag apparently does not come back to the vehicle, or it's not coming back showing as registered, so I can't verify that, but as soon as we get more information, we'll be pushing it out. So I just ask for everybody to stay on our social media, and they'll get updated as soon as we get information.
And when was the decision made to urge people to shelter in place, and how did you come to that conclusion?
I don't know the exact time. I pushed it out as soon as we decided that that's what we needed to do. If you have somebody out that's firing shots, we have multiple locations. We don't know what his motive is, so the best thing is for everybody to stay at home, shelter in place until we can get him in custody.
Absolutely. And to those who are concerned about, gee, I really want to, I know you're telling me to shelter in place at this restaurant, but I really want to get to my wife and kids who are several miles away, you would say to them what?
I would tell them to shelter in place where they are. I mean, like any emergency situation that happens, if everybody is sheltered in place, then you know everybody's safe.
I want to let you go because I know you're busy, but let me just run through. The locations we're aware of are the AutoZone on Jackson and Raleigh. We're aware that there was a shooting at Patterson and Southern that had the U of M issuing a lockdown there. We know about the one we have a live picture of now that people are looking at a Poplar and Evergreen. That's 3. And we know that there was a shooting at 946 East Parkway South earlier this evening. Is that believed to be another one of them?
It may possibly be involved with this as well. Like I said, a lot of information's coming in. We've got a lot of things working. I don't want to provide the wrong information. So as soon as we can get all the details, then we will get that out.
Any of the victims dead that you know of?
I don't have that information.
Okay, all right, I'm going to let you go, but I really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll get in contact with you later if you can give us some new and updated information.
Okay, thank you.
All right, be good. We appreciate you. All right, so we've learned more, and that's beneficial. We appreciate Major Rudolph coming on the air with us to share what she has. She said as many as 5 locations, but I've only was able to get 4 out of her for sure. But at least we have some parameters there that we know about, and there may be a 5th location too. We just don't know the exact address or who the victim may or may not be, but we are aware of at this point as we try to go through the information that we've gotten confirmed from Memphis Police. We know that there are 4, maybe 5 locations, that the locations range from Raleigh to the north to Patterson and Southern to the east near the U of M campus, to Poplar and Evergreen, which is in Midtown, and also in Midtown, 946 East Parkway South, near Cooper Young, Major Rudolph believes is another location. We know that MATA has suspended trolley and bus service due to this citywide active shooter situation. We know that that U of M is on lockdown as a result of the situation and the shooting that occurred near Patterson and Southern. We know that everyone's being asked to shelter in place where they are until the suspect is caught. And we know that the suspect is believed to be driving around in an Arkansas, a gray SUV with Arkansas tags, AEV 63K, that don't necessarily match with the make and model that is being driven. So that's interesting. Raises questions that a stolen vehicle may be involved here. Also, we know that the suspect, Ezekiel Kelly, is really the focus of the citywide effort right now to find him. He's 19 years old. Originally, with the initial shootings, he was posting them on Facebook, and that he was just basically randomly going from one location to another, firing at anyone who got in his way, and tried different methods at each location, whether it be just walking into the store in the case of the AutoZone in Raleigh, or whether it be staging perhaps a 4-car crash at Poplar and Evergreen and pretending to be hurt and shooting anyone who tried to approach him and help him, because he didn't need help. Well, he doesn't need help, but he didn't need help medically, but he took advantage of people's generosity and kindness trying to help him, and returned that favor by shooting at them. In the case of Poplar and Evergreen, a woman, we don't know what age, who the eyewitnesses are telling us was wearing medical scrubs at the time. So that is the most current information that we have. We've been hearing from people.
This has nothing to do with the Fletcher case, okay? It has nothing to do with that. This is an active shooter down here in Memphis, and a lot of you know that I stay in Memphis, as well as other YouTubers down here in Memphis as well. So, but it has nothing to do with her case at all. All right. Welcome everybody tonight, and I'm playing this from the news site from Memphis. So hopefully they don't hit me for this. Hopefully they'll let me do it to spread the word out. So this has nothing to do with her case
Right now, and that is why Major Rudolph was adamant about asking for everyone's help in finding him, so that there are no more victims. But as I've been talking to you here since that Poplar and Evergreen scene now for probably 30 minutes or so, at least thankfully we haven't heard about any more random shootings in that period of time. Brittany Moncrief, let me go back to you.
and say he's posting on his son's Instagram page, Fox 13. Wow.
Yes, there's about 20 of us here. We're kind of just waiting it out. There's really nothing else that, we can do. And I don't think anybody wants to leave out, honestly, at this time. Like I said earlier, there's some people that, want to get home and want to get home to their families. But once we started hearing that.
If you're down here in Memphis like me, if you don't have to be out, please do not be out. Go in, seek immediate shelter, especially if you got children, okay? Please seek immediate shelter. Until this gets sorted out. All right. This is coming out of Memphis, Tennessee, live active shooter.
We're safe, but there's no panic or anything inside of the restaurant, which we're really thankful for. And I think a lot of that goes to the owner locking the doors.
Yeah, I mean, that's the right thing to do. And when your police department feels that there's that kind of risk to public safety, that they issue something like this, I've never been aware of a time that they've done this, at least not in recent memory, you take that seriously and you heed that caution. Brittany, we have received word, unfortunately, that the person who was shot at the location at Poplar and Evergreen, we just know that that person is dead because that our reporter on the scene has seen the body. And so we know of at least one death as a result of this turn of events that started this evening. And there may be more, but that is the only confirmed death that we have at this point, although we know other people, multiple other people have been shot at these different locations that we've been telling you about. Once again, that is according to our crews at the scene. Police have not confirmed how that person died, but we do know that our reporter at the scene has seen that to be the case, that a person is dead there at the scene you're looking at Evergreen and Poplar. We're still waiting to hear for word on the conditions of the other victims that were shot at the other locations. We're aware that the city is actively in an active manhunt right now for Ezekiel Kelly. He's 19 years old. We know the choppers are in the air looking for him. We could not get from Major Rudolph that there was really a focused area of this search right now, other than what we have learned from our crews who are out and about, that there is a chopper above the Overton Square area searching, and that would lead one to believe that's certainly one of the areas. There may be others, but we do know that Overton Square is certainly one location where they're actively looking right now. We know that that the suspect is driving around in a gray Toyota SUV with Arkansas tags AEV 63K. The police are saying if you see him, please call them immediately, call 911 and let them know. We know that the University of Memphis campus is on lockdown, although it's approaching 9 o'clock at night, so that probably isn't affecting a whole lot of people at this point. They're just urging people to stay off the streets, and that, of course, is wise advice right now. And we know that the game involving the Redbirds downtown at AutoZone Park was suspended for now to keep fans safe, and again follow along with this citywide issued order from the Memphis police to shelter in place. And that is exactly what a lot of retail establishments, and in the case of AutoZone Park, baseball stadiums, how they are reacting how they're reacting to this alert that has the whole city trying to find one man. And so far that man has been able to avoid capture. And the result of that is you have a city of close to 650,000 people just wanting to feel at least somewhat safe again, knowing that someone who's willing to randomly shoot and kill people is apprehended, and they can at least feel somewhat relieved that that's the case. Let's go back to Brittany Moncrief on the phone. As I bring that new information on the car that people are looking for, Brittany, the gray Toyota SUV with Arkansas tags, again, license plate AEV63K. What, when you talk about the 18 to 20 people who are there, you said you're, by choice, trying to stay away from the windows and such. You're not wanting to necessarily be visible to anyone who might drive by.
Absolutely. The restaurant we're in, it has a lot of windows. It has a patio spot that's pretty exposed, but there's also a covering, but that is also, the covering is basically just windows all around. And so earlier, there were people that were out on the patio area. It was enclosed. I guess later in the year or later in the evening, they usually close it. So there were people that were out on the patio, but as we started hearing the reports of the shooter in the area where the shooter might have been, people started to come back indoors. Some people left. Myself and my friend, we chose not to leave. Right when we got here again, that's when we heard the alert, and so we decided from the beginning we were just going to stay inside and not be outside at all, because we didn't know, what was happening or where he was. So we have been here for probably over an hour, and like I said, the restaurant is supposed to close around 9:30, and we even talked to one of the employees, and she was like, it's a good chance we're not leaving, on time. And, the employee I spoke with, she has kids at home, and her whole goal was to get off work and go home to her kids, and now we're all stuck in here together. But I will say one thing is, it's comforting to have other people around, just because you can just lean on each other, go back and forth of what you see, update each other, and it's just helpful. But most of us are actually to the back of the restaurant instead of the front, and we are all facing near the exit so we can see where the exits are. Okay. And an employee did update us too where the exits were to make sure that we knew.
Very good. Well, that's taking a very responsible action there. When you were first told that that was the course of action to take, did they continue serving people food and beverage, or has that been suspended as well?
No, they're continuing to serve people, and I think a lot of people, especially beverages, I think a lot of people are still ordering because it's more of a comfort, something to ease their nerves, you know. So, but my friend who I came with, like right when we heard about the shooter and we sat down and we ordered food immediately, she's like, my appetite is gone. You know, now my stomach is in knots. And, you know, she just left her family, you know, to come here for a little bit. And she's been calling back and forth to make sure that they're okay because they also don't live too far from here.
Mm-hmm. You know, we're also getting reports from people that, and this is stuff we have to be careful of because it's not confirmed, but we just know that people are reacting outside the city of Memphis too, and that's relevant, that there was suspicious activity in South Haven by 55 in the state line there that has some people taking precautions there and wanting to report that to authorities that they think they may have seen someone matching the description there. And so, you know, you just have, obviously this affects the whole metro area because promise you, nothing is going to keep a guy who's capable of doing what police say he has done already. He's not worried about what city he's in and is perfectly capable of striking anyone anywhere he pleases until he's apprehended. And that's where things sit right now, is finding where he might be and getting him off the streets and behind bars as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
How are people handling this where you are, Brittany?
Right now, you know, literally, I'm looking around the room and people are on their phones. Some people are just, you know, speaking with each other because there's nothing we can do. You know, we're pretty much stuck. So, but like everyone who works here, the employees, they're all gathered in one spot. They're talking to each other. They're all looking up at the news. We're watching. We have about 3 screens going right now that we're watching. Even earlier when people were out on the patio, you know, they changed all the TV so even people out there can get updates. But now we're all inside. We, you know, are talking to each other, communicating with each other, and trying to keep each other, you know, as calm as possible. And that's the good thing. You know, a lot of people are still calm. You know, I haven't seen any chaos or anything in here, but there's definitely people worried. I just was sitting next to an employee who was calling home and calling people and checking to make sure, you know, they were safe, and them calling her and make sure they were safe. I have family in Michigan. That's where I'm from, and they're calling me to make sure that that I'm safe. And
Not all you say you're in South Haven. Be careful. All right. And I seen somebody say they were just down here the other day. I think that was you, Jeannie. I'm glad you made it out before this happened. This is ridiculous and insane, and this is why Memphis stay on top of the map of crime, because stuff like this. We just had a woman who was kidnapped, and I think they found her body. Now this is going on. But like I tell y'all, mental illness is real. Don't take it for granted. It's real. I don't know if he got it or not, but you know, mental illness is real. So yeah, to all my Memphians, y'all be careful out there. If you don't need to be out, don't be out. Seek shelter immediately till the coast is clear. All right.
And you don't know what's happening, and you know, this is between these 4 walls of this restaurant is all we know, and we can see out on the road, and you just see police officers going back and forth. They kind of died down, not as much police activity, so which is a little bit more calming.
Okay, yeah, that is, I can imagine so. We have one of our digital producers who's at the Celtic Crossing in Cooper Young, and they were getting dinner when they were told to shelter inside. You know, I'm seeing these different reports on our inner communication system as we see it's affecting everybody, and it only makes sense that that would be the case. So it is just past the 9 o'clock hour, so let's reset if we can here on ABC 24 and just let you know what we're in the midst of right now. We are in the midst of an active manhunt throughout the city of Memphis, one that is so involved and so serious and being taken so seriously by police that they're encouraging everyone to shelter inside, shelter in place where they are, because they need to find a 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly who has been randomly shooting people and without any regard other than just to do it. And we know there are multiple victims. There are multiple locations right now. Let me try to run down what we know about some of those locations at this point. Major Karen Rudolph with the Memphis PD says there are as many as 5 where she, at last count from her last information, but we can only nail down 4 of them at this point. We know that there was a man that was shot at the AutoZone on Jackson in Raleigh tonight. We know that a woman is dead at the Poplar and Evergreen in Midtown, and that is what you're looking at here. That whole intersection shut down. We know there was shooting, or at least shots fired, at Patterson and Southern near the U of M campus at the time when this first happened, although classes presumably are no longer taking place right now, any night classes. The U of M immediately putting the campus on lockdown and requesting that everyone shelter in place. We know that AutoZone Park is now on lockdown, that they put the game on pause, and presumably the longer this goes, they'll just suspend the game and reschedule. But they, and again, out of abundance of caution to keep fans safe, they put AutoZone Park on lockdown downtown. We know that MATA has suspended all bus service and trolley service throughout the city because of this alert from Memphis police urging everyone to shelter in place. We don't know the order of when these shootings occurred. We don't know whether any more have occurred very recently. We just know that Memphis police are looking desperately to try and find Ezekiel Kelly so they can tell people that there is no longer a need to shelter in place, that you can go home and see your families and relax at least a little once they find who they're looking for. We do know that one person is confirmed dead. This is the scene at Poplar and Evergreen. We know that Ezekiel Kelly is believed to be in a gray Toyota SUV, and that SUV has Arkansas tags, and the Arkansas tag number is AEV63K. AEV63K.
I'm thinking the
All of
same
this,
thing.
the result of a shooting rampage that
I'm thinking
began
he
this
ready.
evening.
If they do
Ezekiel,
catch
I'm
him,
sorry.
I think he's ready for a shootout.
Shooting rampage that began this evening, and police are fearful there may be more shootings if they don't hurry up and catch Ezekiel Kelly as soon as possible. We do know that the suspect, before getting in that gray SUV, had driven another car when committing at least the first one or two shootings. In that case, it was a blue sedan, an Infiniti, we believe. The rear window was busted out, and then at some point transferred into another car, and that's the gray Toyota SUV that he is believed to be in now. We have some other witness reports of a shooting at East Parkway South that is near Cooper Young. There was a victim there. Major Rudolph with Memphis police thought that that was related to the shooting spree that we're reporting to you, but she wouldn't go full, wouldn't say there was 100% confirmation on that particular shooting. So that's 4 of them, and she thought there were 5, but she didn't remember where the 5th one was. That's the situation as we have it. We know that people all over town are in, whether they're in restaurants or in baseball stadiums, they are sheltering in place and waiting for word of an all clear from Memphis police that they've found the suspect that they're looking for. It is really a scary night, and we've heard that from a number of people who were out and about when they got word that there was this suspect who was just shooting at random at people, and we also believe there, I'm getting some new information into me, but I want to make sure we've confirmed it first, that the notion that someone feels like it's okay just to go around shooting people is very, very disturbing, because we like to at least feel that if we take we take the precautions we're supposed to take as citizens and care for one another and do the right thing, that we don't have to worry about something like this happening. But apparently, at least at one of the situations, based on what we're hearing from eyewitnesses at the Poplar and Evergreen location, there was the suspect pretended to be hurt, but was not. Rebecca Butcher is our reporter at that scene at Poplar and Evergreen. Rebecca, what can you tell us about what you're seeing there? What has you been able to learn from any scene commanders that are there? And what are you observing that police are doing or looking for where you're located there?
Richard, yes. Well, I was first here to get on the scene here at Poplar in Auburndale. Not far from here is where a woman was shot after an eyewitness to that shooting said that suspect with that handgun, quote, was acting like he was hurt, going up to a couple of vehicles after a four-car crash here in the area. I did learn from him that he went up to this woman. He says that she was in scrubs. She was in her car, but she was also getting out, likely to figure out this car wreck situation, and he shot her. So right now we do believe, based on this eyewitness account, that it was someone in the medical profession who was shot here. We have since learned that person, was rushed to the hospital, and we're still. Of course, it's an emotional scene. Let me show you what we're seeing here. We've seen them here in the area at least for the last hour. It's been more than that. They've been very quiet. As soon as I got here, I was asking police crew.
Poor baby, y'all can see she's scared, but I don't blame her though, because she outside and she got to report this. You can see in her face, that poor baby is scared. I don't blame her. We all blame her. Keep your head up, dear. Keep your head up.
Got in alerts.
Because I got to get out later on myself to go to work. So we all feeling a little something. So I think everything will be all right. Just stay safe.
Definitely calm down. The person who was shot has been moved out of the area. We do know that that car that she was in had been taken by this suspect. Now that suspect we know is 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly. According to police, they have been warning people about this person. We now know he is driving a gray Toyota SUV with Arkansas tags, possibly driving east on Poplar Avenue, and he's responsible for multiple shootings, all while going on Facebook Live. Now, they don't have a specific location right now, so stay inside, folks. I was telling the people here on the scene, of course, people are always curious. We always get questions on a scene. Just really encourage people to get inside, get elderly people, anyone who might be driving a little bit slower, who might have a distance home tonight. Get to where you can, get to a loved one's home and stay inside. Of course, this is a very, it's a little bit more of an eerie scene now, but things have calmed down since that person who was shot has been moved out of the area. We also know MATA has suspended trolley and bus services as well, and the victim has passed as well, we have learned from authorities. So if you have any information, really don't even try to get information. Just follow what Memphis police are saying. Usually we ask, if you see anything, call 901-528-CASH, but at this point I would say, if you see anything online, report that to police. That's what would be my personal recommendation, experiencing scenes like this. So, of course, we are working to gather more details. And like you said, Richard, it is a bit much more overwhelming, too much for Memphis, the Bluff City. This happening just days after, of course, Eliza Fletcher was identified as well. We've been on that case as well. Back to you.
Yeah, a lot to absorb this week for sure, and this incident tonight is only going to lead to people's consternation about what's going on here. But I want to ask you about that particular scene. When we saw you earlier, your previous live report, it looked like there was, even though there's a substantial live presence there still, it looks like some of the police presence has left that scene. As they've done that, have they said where they're going, or are they moving on to another area where they are hearing Ezekiel Kelly, I believe his nickname is Zeke, where he might be, where the search is concentrated?
Yeah, no, our crew hasn't heard specifically from officers here on this scene. Of course, we continue to work our contacts to get more information. It does seem random. There are some reports of what might have been posted on Instagram, but I'm working to confirm that information. Of course, before we share that, we're all about, facts, not fear, even though this is a very fearful and scary situation.
PRH, what it do, my guy? What it do, man? Hey, you need to hit me up, bro, because I heard some more information about the old girl, man. Email me later, bro.
A time where, you do want to of course, it's early now, but any solutions, from leaders, coming off of coverage of, how we can tackle crime has always been a thing for Memphis. And of course, we've got eyes on our city now more than ever, more than usual. But yeah, anything we can do to, whether it's education or speaking with church leaders or mentors, we've been doing those stories, back to back, Richard.
Yeah, and as a Memphis native, and I know you love your city, it's hard to have weeks like are fearful.
Absolutely. It just occurred to me this morning. It's different. We've just had the murder of Reverend Easton Williams over, in Whitehaven. Love the Whitehaven community, historic community here in the city of Memphis. That carjacking that turned into a homicide. We sat down with her husband as well. So these people, of course, everyone has a light to give. Every life has value. And I think that's important to remember. And this is, just not, of course, my personal opinion. I think most people can agree with that, of course. But just speaking with other leaders about the plans that they have to really solve this crime problem.
Night Owl says he's in South Haven, so anybody in South Haven, if that is true, please go inside. Better safe than sorry. If you don't need to be out, please don't be out till everything is said and done and the smoke is all clear. I am praying for everybody's safety tonight in Memphis and in South Haven. Memphis is my hometown. Avery Brown is in Memphis. Night Owl thinks she's close to Memphis. Everybody else who's in Memphis that's listening, wherever you're listening at, please go inside if you can. Do not come out if you do not need to. If you need to, please be careful and be strapped. All right?
Location, and forgive me, there's so many street names in this city. I try to do my best to know most of them that I can, but that looks to be near Rains Road, near the Will Carruthers ball complex. That's generally speaking where we're talking about here, that if you are anywhere near that you absolutely shelter in place in that location, because that is the exact request as we have it from Memphis Police, although earlier, as we've been telling you, that pretty much includes the entire city. But nonetheless, they really felt strongly enough about it in the case of that location that they're asking everyone to take every precaution they can and stay inside. Hopefully, this means they're narrowing down where he is, and they are getting close to apprehending him so we can get the all clear and bring this active situation to a close, and then try to piece together exactly what kind of damage and what else has been done during the course of this rampage that started this evening. And as far
No one is lady, thank you. All them surrounding areas, you just never know where he may be at. Thank you so much. Yes, all them surrounding areas, please be careful. Even if you don't think he in your neck of the woods, just please be safe. You don't need to be out. Do not be out. Better safe than sorry. And if you have children, please don't let them be out. Y'all be safe out there, right? After shooter, live in Memphis, Tennessee. Police are looking for him. They don't know exactly where he is now, but they feel like they may be closing in on him. I try to stay here as long as I can to keep this live going. Beatrice, what up, my boy? I thank y'all for coming in, listening, and hitting the thumbs up and whatnot. Yeah. And sorry for keeping reading the video, but I think YouTube got a thing. If you playing stuff like this on another YouTube channel, you got to do some kind of commentary on it or you'll get a strike. So just try to make sure I don't get a strike.
a nice dinner when they got word that the city was being put on a lockdown or shelter-in-place order, and we have the U of M campus also doing the same thing, and probably several other establishments that maybe have not tweeted about it, but we know that people being responsible are taking the kind of precautions that they have to make sure that people stay safe, especially if they're under their roof in the case of restaurants or what have you. The places where we know there have been shooting victims, number one would be this one here, the one we're showing you, is the location at Poplar and Auburndale. That has the intersection closed down, and we know that the victim in this case has been removed from the scene, but obviously still a large police presence there trying to gather evidence and figure out what's happened there. We believe the shooting before that was at Patterson and Southern. That's near the U of M campus, which obviously led to the lockdown of the university. And we know that there was also a shooting at the AutoZone store on Jackson. That's in the Raleigh area. So yet another victim there. We don't know their condition at this point. We also believe from Memphis Police, as you look at the AutoZone location, we also believe that there was, we know there was a shooting at 946 East Parkway South near Cooper Young, but we don't know for sure that the shooter they're looking for was in any way involved there. Might be an unrelated crime, but Major Rudolph of the Memphis Police Department believed that that was probably connected. So those are the shooting locations we have. She thought there were as many as 5. We only know about those 4, but that's the breadth of which.
Not out, they got him. Amen, amen. They got him, Night Owl. Please send that to me, baby. They talking about it. Send it to me. All right, Night Owl. You know how I get in contact with him, baby. Send it to me. Well, they probably say something about it in a minute.
Which different areas of town have been affected.
Amen.
The people who were just innocent victims obviously affected, their families affected tonight. A number of people, all of us, in fact, affected, because when a whole city is put on lockdown or asked to shelter in place, that's affecting tens of thousands of people and is not to be minimized. I mean, this is a very serious situation, one that we hope is drawing to a close rapidly at the area of Ivan and Hodge roads, and that's only because of, thank heavens for social media. I mean, it's got its blessings and its curses, but you got to say the way you're able to quickly get word out, as they've been able to do, about where they're searching and where they're actively telling people that they need to stay inside. That is very helpful to all of us to know basically where their efforts are primarily concentrated. So we're keeping on it. We're doing our best to stay on top of all of this, and it's disturbing. It is not a pleasant night to be bringing you breaking news, but we know that everyone is interested in knowing that anyone who could randomly shoot people and just drive around areas.
See people on their porches, you see them checking social media. Everywhere we've been today, from the AutoZone, people were just cornering around or watching each other's phones, just watching the suspect and his live stream of the attack. So it's a very fluid situation, but you're confirming that that suspect is now in custody. So surely people in this neighborhood breathing a sigh of relief after authorities warned everyone to shelter in place. Again, we just arrived moments ago. There's still a lot we're working to learn about this investigation, but the good news is that authorities say that 19-year-old suspect now in custody. Darcy, Daryl.
Hey, Kate, we know that this individual wrecked not far from where you are, and that's why police were able to catch up with him, obviously, and we knew they would at some point. But do you know if there was ever any exchange of gunfire? Was there any threat to the neighborhood that you know of? Again, understanding you've only been there for just a couple of moments.
Yeah, Daryl, we just arrived. We don't know if there was any gunfire exchanged here in this neighborhood. We're seeing a lot of people standing around. A lot of people just arrived. You can see a woman approaching the area with her cell phone there. A lot of people are confused. If you pan to my left here, photographer Sam Hudson, if you pan to the left, you can see a lot of people just getting outside their homes, just wanting to see what's happening, because we just arrived on scene. There's a lot we're working to learn. We're seeing law enforcement officers of multiple different agencies. You can see them walking all around us now. A very tense scene. It's been a very stressful day for all of Memphis, but the good news is that you're saying that that 19-year-old suspect is now in custody. You could see them in tactical gear walking around this neighborhood. They're walking up and down Sullivan Street right now. It appears as though a fire truck is what it sounds like is arriving now. We don't know why that fire truck is arriving. They might be here to treat the suspect. We don't know. I mean, you're reporting that the suspect was in a crash. This fire truck or this ambulance might be here. Okay, the siren just stopped now, so we don't know exactly why that emergency vehicle just arrived, but that is the first siren that I've heard in this neighborhood since we've arrived. Just a lot of officers. You look around us, we have a sea of flashing blue lights. All of these officers from multiple different agencies, primarily Memphis Police, but we've seen officers in tactical gear walking around this neighborhood. We don't know if there was any gunfire exchange. I mean, everyone in this neighborhood is just on their phones, recording what happened, checking social media, trying to figure out exactly what happened. I mean, I've never seen this many flashing lights at a crime scene. You can see them all around us. It looks like this, if we pan to the left, looks like this. It appears as though it's an ambulance, which is now arriving. The ambulance is on scene now, getting closer to the scene. Again, if you're just joining us right now, police originally told the public to avoid the area 4 blocks north of us at at Hodge and Ivan. We are at Sullivan and Hodge, so we are 4 blocks south of where police say they took that suspect into custody. Because authorities say they have that suspect in custody, people in this neighborhood will likely be breathing a sigh of relief. Their neighborhood, a tremendous amount of activity and commotion all day. I mean, as you know, people across Memphis sitting in their living rooms, afraid to go outside, but thankfully we're seeing that this scene hopefully can be secured soon because that suspect is now in custody. But again, if you look around, people in the neighborhood, they're just at a loss for words, all this activity. We have yet to interview anyone in this neighborhood, so we don't know if anyone... Hey, did you guys see anything? No? No? A lot of people on their phone, but we don't know if anyone has actually seen or heard what happened. We're 4 blocks south of where police say they took the suspect into custody. We hear another siren approach. We don't know exactly who's approaching us now. I'll tell you, this has been wild. We've been all day at the AutoZone. We saw multiple law enforcement vehicles, multiple emergency response vehicles racing north-south across the street. It's been a very hectic, very eventful day. You could see 2 law enforcement officers in tactical gear approaching us now. It appears as though they're, I don't know exactly which agency they're with, but approaching us now. Thankfully, it seems as though people in this neighborhood can breathe somewhat of a sigh of relief, knowing that that 19-year-old suspect is now in custody. You can see there's 1 Memphis police officer, looks like a crisis negotiator, but not sure. The back of his vest says negotiator. And we just had that ambulance arrive on scene, but it's staying very close to Sullivan and Hodge. It has yet to approach the scene where police say they have the suspect in custody. There's a lot going on in this neighborhood. I could not even tell you how many officers are here. We have at least 2 dozen from what I can see.
About another mile up there.
So, 1 officer on scene just said that it's about another mile up the actual scene. But, I mean, we saw earlier at AutoZone, it was very chaotic. I mean, we saw emergency vehicles driving up and down the street. We would see like 5 or 6 at a time driving north, and then 10 minutes later they'd be driving south because there were just so many active scenes across Memphis. It was very chaotic. People didn't know what was happening. Literally at the gas station by the AutoZone, can we get a little closer? We're being asked to get a little closer. We can try and move closer to this ambulance, but At the gas station near the AutoZone, people were just complete strangers crowded together trying to get a glimpse of what the suspect appeared to be live streaming, just those violent attacks. If we come a little bit closer here, we can see the ambulance. They have not blocked off this part of the street yet, but again, authorities are saying they have a suspect in custody. So if you look behind me, you can see plenty more flashing lights. Just look at all those officers, just a sea of blue lights on this neighborhood on Sullivan and Hodge. We're told the scene is on Hodge and Ivan. That is where authorities alerted the public to stay away from, to avoid this evening before getting that suspect into custody. We saw that suspect's, not only his live stream, but Kayla pointed out that he was also posting on Instagram. We were following those posts as we were getting here. He was posting to his story and appeared to be more threats toward the city of Memphis. So many people breathing a sigh of relief that that 19-year-old suspect is finally in custody. And again, you look around me, this is a pretty quiet neighborhood. We're actually on our way to follow a tip in another part of town when we learned that the suspect had been taken into custody. Just, I mean, for the next 4 blocks, you could see as far as the eye can see, just officers in this Memphis neighborhood. The ambulance just arrived on scene, but the ambulance has not gotten any closer to the scene up there on Ivan and Hodge. You could see, I don't know if you could see this, but neighbors are all around us trying to figure out exactly what is happening in their neighborhood. We've talked to a few people who said that they didn't see what happened. They did not want to go on camera. We're going to try and get as close to the scene as we can. Of course, we don't want to impede with the investigation, the officer's investigation. But you'd like us to move back? Okay. How far would you like us to move back? They're asking us to move a little back. We don't know exactly how far. The ambulance is reversing right now. And so,
hey, Kate, I'll tell you what.
we're working, of course.
Kate, we're going to let you get into a better position. Obviously, as you said, you don't want to be interfering with the officers and them trying to do their job. You take a breath, get into a little better position, but be ready. We're going to come back to you in about 20 or 30 seconds, but we do have some new information. Again, the MPD confirming through a tweet
that the suspect is in custody. 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly. They say continue to obviously follow their tweets. But again, they made it very clear you need to avoid the area of Ivan Road and Hodge Road. That is where they were finally able to arrest this guy and get him into custody.
Yeah, and if
get
you
him
live
off the
if
streets.
you live in that area, you saw people out. I mean, naturally, you're gonna want to see what's going on in your neighborhood. Just try your best not to interfere with that investigation. And you can do your own investigation just with your eyeballs. You can see for yourself. Men and women in police and the sheriff's office from both DeSoto County and Shelby County. We saw Tennessee Highway Patrol there. We saw investigators from other local agencies. We saw negotiators there, literally just ready for anything. And as Kate pointed out, that ambulance pulled up. That's protocol. Anytime you have something like this going on this scale, even on smaller scales, they always activate emergency medical personnel to be on standby for any potential injuries, and they have them staged usually far away from a crime scene to be ready to move in at a moment's notice when needed. So that obviously is protocol. The other, the even better news, I guess you could say for everyone else, is the lockdown for the city of Memphis or the shelter-in-place order, not the lockdown, pardon me. The shelter-in-place order that was issued by the Memphis Police Department earlier has been lifted. And I would imagine that would also apply to AutoZone Park. It's going to apply to the University of Memphis campus. All of that is now out of play. Tell you what, let's go back to Kate if you want, because she's obviously got the best pictures and video.
But before we go to Kate, I mean, again, we were talking about 4 different crime scenes this evening. It had to be so scary and frightening to people. In fact, you said you were out and about yourself. You saw police cars just coming back and forth, going north, going south. I'm sure people who were driving home today, because this is when it was happening, around the 6 o'clock hour tonight, they had to be just freaked out and concerned what was going on, what was happening in this city. Well, now we know exactly what was happening. This 19-year-old has been arrested, and he is now in custody.
And now, since Kate's had the chance to catch her breath, let's go back to Kate there. She is at, Ivan and Hodge. Ivan and Hodge.
Near Ivan and Hodge.
Well, about 4 blocks off of that.
Ivan and Sullivan.
You know, Kate, as we said, we wanted to give you a chance to catch your breath and restage out of the way of the investigators there. Talk to us about the agencies again that you've seen there, because I saw all sorts of logos on vehicles and on the back of vests. I mean, this really was a multi-agency effort.
Yeah, I will tell you, Daryl, we're just going to give you a static shot of the scene there. You could see what appears to be a Memphis police officer approaching us right now. We've seen officers with all agencies across this area. I mean, it's been a little hard to identify all of their vehicles in the dark. We're walking a little bit closer to the scene. I mean, look at this response. This has just been a very difficult day for all of Memphis. Residents are sitting in their homes right now, told to shelter in place. It's been just very chaotic all day, and we're approaching the scene right now. We're probably about 3 blocks south of the scene, and you could just see the sea of blue lights, the sea of flashing lights. Also, other people who live in the neighborhood, residents, are approaching. You could see that officer is driving toward us now. And I mean, really, it's just difficult to say how many law enforcement officers are on scene. We were near Hodge and Sullivan, and we're approaching Hodge and Ivan now. This street looks like, I'm trying to make out the sign on this street. It's a little dark here. Bonita. Here on Hodge, if I'm getting that street name correct. We're approaching the scene right now. Officers have not told us at this moment to stand back, so we're just going to get as close as we can now that we know that that suspect is in custody. Again, that 19-year-old who police say went on a shooting spree across Memphis. We know many of you are probably watching from your living rooms right now. You were maybe told to stay inside tonight, stay home. While this scene was so active, thankfully we can report that hopefully the scene, the chaos, has come to an end as authorities say they have that 19-year-old suspect in custody. So right now, yes, we are on Hodge and Bonita Drive, and this looks like a very quiet neighborhood normally. I mean, the homes here, you could see people walking outside of their homes. Everybody's on their cell phone here trying to stream. I mean, honestly, there's quite a few people for such an active investigation. But you can, if you look behind me, you could just see a never-ending stream of cars that belong to officers, law enforcement in the area. You can see officers in tactical gear. Just look at all these people in the street. I mean, if we look, follow me here, you could see just all these neighbors in the street, all these people just trying to find out what happened. And then, of course, all the officers on scene. We see sheriff's deputies. We've seen plenty of officers in tactical gear. I mean, I was not expecting to see this. Just so many people standing in the street. Again, we have dozens of officers on scene. We don't know exactly how many officers, but officers with multiple agencies, officers in tactical gear. This was a very busy day for all the officers across Memphis. We were at the AutoZone is where we started, where that live stream appeared to show the 19-year-old suspect shoot a man who was shopping at that AutoZone. We're working to find out that man's condition. But, I mean, look at this. We have so many officers on scene, but if you look in front of me, there's also just a lot of people walking around on the sidewalk, getting closer to the scene. Obviously a lot of relief right now that that 19-year-old suspect is in custody. Let's see, so we were at Bonita and Hodge. Now we're approaching Hodge, and we're about 2 blocks south from the scene. I'm working to get that street sign, but we're about 2 blocks south of the scene and walking toward it. Did any of you see anything? Did you guys see anything? Did you hear anything? No? Okay. So there's a lot of people standing around, but no one has said that they've seen anything. I mean, this appears to be where police have blocked the street off. I mean, we're not seeing any crime scene tape anywhere. Did you guys see anything? We're live right now on television. Did you see anything?
One thing I want to say is Memphis has had 1 week. It started with Fletcher. It started with Fletcher, and then it started with the shoes, and then it ended with this.
Thank you, sir.
I hope this is the end. I hope this is the end.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We're going to get a little bit closer. We're going to get, he's right, it has been a very eventful week here in Memphis. I'm having a hard time hearing you guys, but we're getting as close to the scene as we can. Okay, everybody back? Okay, so this officer is asking us to move back. Again, it's not just us, there's a lot of neighbors on the scene. We have, gosh, probably like 2-3 dozen people here on the scene just live streaming. Officers appear to be. So let's pan back, let's show the scene. That is as close as we've been able to get to the scene. This is Jean and Hodge. I believe we're about 2 blocks south of where officers say that 19-year-old suspect was taken into custody. We are working to learn the condition of that suspect. We just arrived on scene. We arrived on scene right when we started broadcasting to you, probably 5-10 minutes ago. We haven't heard any gunshots in this neighborhood. We haven't heard any commotion. Officers, again, are now asking us to move back. We, of course, will follow all of their requests, but that's where we are right now. If you look, you can see an ambulance on scene at Ivan and Hodge. We are at Hodge and Jean here, and so we are giving you a live look at where authorities say that suspect was taken into custody. Hodge and Ivan, and I'm going to go back to you, Daryl and Darcy, as we reset for our 10 o'clock.
Yeah, Kate, let's.
How many times I'd have told y'all, everybody always talking about they hate the police, they hate the police, they hate the police. But as soon as some shit go down, everybody and their mom outside trying to see what's going on. I don't ever understand that. I really don't.
Give you again a breath, because you've been nonstop, and that is great work staying out of the way, but giving us those live pictures of that scene there at Ivan and Hodge in South Memphis. Just to reset where we started, right. Just after 6 o'clock, Memphis police tell us that 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly started on social media, walked into an AutoZone store while on social media, opened the door on that AutoZone store there at Jackson and Wales, fired 2 shots, and we were told, matter of fact, an individual at that particular store told Kate Beery, who we were just talking to, he saw that man get hit. He had a bullet wound to his side. That's where it all started. It then moved to a gas station not far down the road.
Moved to the BP gas station at East Parkway South. We know that there was some shots fired also at the University of Memphis, right there at Southern and Patterson. We also know that there was a shooting that apparently happened today off of Madison and Poplar near McLean. He was busy.
And there was also a possible carjacking, because we know he was in 3 different vehicles now.
That's right.
He started in a blue Infiniti there at the Jackson store, the Jackson AutoZone store, wound up in a gray Toyota SUV with Arkansas plates. I was told by a police source that he obtained that particular vehicle through a carjacking in the Evergreen area, then proceeded to go to East Parkway South. That's where he shot, and Daniel Wilkerson confirmed, and killed a man. From there, he went south on I-55 into DeSoto County, and then hijacked another person and picked up another vehicle.
That was a Dodge Challenger at that point. He jumped in that vehicle, but what made it interesting, he was in South Haven at that point. At some point, he decided to turn back around and come back into Memphis, and he got off in the Elvis Presley area off of Rains Avenue there. And of course, that's where police finally confronted this guy at Ivan and Hodge. That's where he was confronted. He wrecked right there, and that's where police were able to arrest and get this guy.
Thanks for clearing that up, because I had stepped out for a minute. When I came back, I heard him saying that, I'm like, what is he talking about? And I think the news reporter thought he was trying to be funny. I knew he wasn't trying to be funny. I see in his face he was dead serious. He just didn't know how to articulate his words. So, wow. Appreciate you clearing it up.
Into custody.
And again, as you look at this scene, we just got confirmation from the Memphis Police Department, Major Karen Rudolph telling us to expect a news conference in the near future. We do not know exactly when. We do not know exactly where. I would be shocked if it's not very close to this particular area at Ivan and Hodge. That's probably where we're going to hear. It could be from Major Rudolph herself, could be from someone on command staff, or it could be Chief C.J. Davis. The last time we saw C.J. Davis was in front of a podium, of course, addressing the Liza Fletcher case. We did not see her previous to that, after the officer-involved shooting last week. So we could hear from the chief. We could not. We don't know. We're not exactly sure who we're going to hear from, but the MPD is supposed to give us a full rundown of what they have information-wise coming up here in the very near future.
This has been a frightening situation all evening since 6 o'clock, since this whole thing started. We're talking about 3 hours and 40 minutes now. It has been frightening. It has been sad. It has been sickening. It has been disgusting for so many people weighing in on Facebook. They just can't even believe it. There were 4 crime scenes today. We know that one person was apparently shot at the AutoZone on Jackson. We believe that someone was killed at the BP gas station right there on East Parkway South.
And it started, I'm being corrected now, it started at 4:30, not 6:30. This started at 4:35 this afternoon.
Okay.
So 2 hours earlier than we anticipated, so it's been going on for roughly 5 hours. Because they just took him into custody as a matter of 15 minutes ago. And we're still looking live at that scene just 2 blocks away from where he was taken into custody after wrecking his car there at Ivan and Hodge in South Memphis. They're still asking people in that area to avoid the area. If you live there and you're trying to get home, you're going to have a hard time getting down Ivan. So just be very careful with that.
We also know that he apparently at some point had a first-degree murder charge. We believe that was February of 2020.
Yep, February of 2020.
But the warrant was issued this morning. But he is right now, he is behind bars in custody.
We don't know the details on that warrant. We're still
working through that.
It takes a moment to pull those warrants up and get the information. So we just know it was a warrant for first-degree murder charges. Again, that crime committed in February of 2020, but that warrant was issued this morning, and clearly he got word of that and decided to make a run for it in this fashion. At least always innocent until proven guilty. I don't mean to convict an individual, but for all intents and purposes, police say this is the man who's perpetrated these crimes throughout this day. We know one person is dead. We know one other person is injured. Those are the 2 confirmed injuries we have related directly to Ezekiel Kelly. We also saw, Darcy, as we saw it time and time again over the past 2 hours, those 2 people there at Madison and McLean, injuries there, but we don't know if they did not look like gunshot victims. They looked possibly like car wreck victims, and that could have been as a result of this particular police chase.
Okay, we also know that Fox 13's Kate Beery is still about 2 blocks away from the actual crime scene. Kate, I believe that the crime scene, it all wrapped up, we know, at Ivan and Hodge. Can you give us an update on where you are right now?
So we're at Hodge and Jean right now, Darcy, and we can smell in the air. It smells something smoky of sorts. It smells like perhaps there's been, it's hard to say, but some sort of smoke or fire. You can see officers with Memphis police approaching us now. Moments ago, they set up this crime scene tape here at Hodge and Jean, but we know that the scene is at Hodge and Ivan. That is about 2 blocks north of here. There's a lot of commotion in this neighborhood right now. We're seeing a sea of law enforcement officers in front of us, behind us, where they say the suspect was taken into custody at Hodge and Ivan. I've never seen this many officers, law enforcement officers in my life, honestly. You could see there's dozens on scene. Some of them are driving under the crime scene tape as we speak. It's been an extremely eventful day for them across Memphis with multiple reported shootings, all they say from that same 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly. So this has been a fluid, difficult day for law enforcement, but it seems as though it has hopefully come to an end with authorities saying that 19-year-old suspect was taken into custody. Again, that scene, Darcy, 2 blocks north of where I'm standing at Hodge and Ivan. We're on Hodge and Jean right now. There's a lot of commotion in the neighborhood. If we look to my right here, you can see there's plenty of people just standing around on the sidewalk. So officers are trying to regain control of the scene here. They're trying to just secure the scene because they have this 19-year-old suspect in custody. But a lot of commotion in this neighborhood as people are coming out of their homes, trying to figure out what happened. Just moments ago, within the past hour, they told this entire neighborhood to shelter in place. So again, we are 2 blocks south of where police say they took that 19-year-old suspect into custody. And I'm going to send it back to you, Daryl, Darcy.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Fox 13's Kate Beery reporting. Doing a great job out there tonight, Kate. We said earlier that this guy has a first-degree murder charge, actually from February of 2020.
First-degree murder charge was issued this morning from what we understand. Let's get more details now from Fox 13's Kayla Solomon. Kayla, you dug into that warrant. Tell us what you found.
Now, again, we don't know exactly what happened back on February 3rd, 2020, but I can tell you that this is, along with that first-degree murder charge, there's also an aggravated assault and firearm with intent to commit felony charge, as well as a reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon charge. And again, this is all dated February 3rd, 2020. So we're trying to do some more digging to find out exactly what happened with this. And as Daryl mentioned, that warrant was just issued this morning. Again, this is for 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly. So we know at this time that when all of this happened back in 2020, he was just 17 years old. So once we have more information on what this all stems from, if it's one incident or more than one incident that happened in one day, we'll be able to have that information for you soon.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Kayla.
Thank you
That's
so much,
Fox 13's Kayla Solomon. Again, we're going to keep, she said she's going to keep digging into that. These warrants are not easily accessible, especially this time of night.
Let's reset. Let's reset. If you are just now joining us, 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly, he has been arrested. He is now in custody. This is the suspect that has been responsible for a rampage across the city of Memphis. This started this afternoon, and it just wrapped up just after the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah, I'd been saying that this started at 6:30. My apologies, we've been corrected. This started just after 4:30 at the AutoZone store on Jackson and Wales, when he walked in, supposedly, and we're saying supposedly even though we saw him on Facebook Live actually walk into the store, fire shots, and we're told he hit a man in the side. He went from there to East Parkway South, where police say he then exited his vehicle, fired shots, hit another man in another vehicle. Daniel Wilkerson, Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson on that scene, has since confirmed that that man was killed in that shooting.
We also had another shooting that happened at McLean near Madison and Poplar. We saw someone getting into an ambulance. We're not sure if that's an actual connection to the shooting, but there was another shots fired call that came in. This was at the University of Memphis. In fact, it was at Southern and Patterson. We also know that the school, the university, was put on lockdown as a precaution because of that shooting there. We know that the Delta Fair, that was on lockdown. We know that MATA had to suspend its service because of what was happening. This was a 4-area crime scene across the city of Memphis. Just based on the text, the Facebook posts, the tweets that I have been getting all evening, people were devastated, scared, frightened.
Scared, that's the operative word.
Disbelief of what was happening across the city right now.
Yep. He then made his way into DeSoto County. We're told from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office and MPD that he made his way into DeSoto County, carjacked another individual there, dumped the Toyota that he had carjacked from someone else, got into a Dodge Charger, according to MPD, made his way back north across the state line. The DeSoto County Sheriff's Office gave us that information, that he was seen at 55 and State Line Road. He then made his way off of 55 onto Rains and into that neighborhood at Ivan and Hodge. We're also getting clarification that the Memphis Police Department and Shelby County Sheriff's Office officers and deputies from Memphis and Shelby County actually made the stop after that car wrecked, and they are the ones who apprehended Ezekiel Kelly, with assistance from the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office and the Tennessee Highway Patrol and other agencies as well. The bottom line to this news is this man is in custody tonight for a shooting that spanned at least 5 parts of this city. Again, we are told several people were hit by bullets. We have confirmed one person was killed by a bullet. Let's go back to Fox 13's Kate Berry. Kate is still on that scene that you see there. Now, those live pictures you saw in that box were from only 2 blocks away from Ivan and Hodge. People in that neighborhood are still out, even though the MPD is asking everybody, please go inside and let them take care of their business and get this out of their neighborhood.
I'm sure they're stunned, though. I'm sure they're in disbelief that this is happening right there in front of them. Again, Kate is about 2 blocks away from the actual crime scene, but we're going to toss it back out to Kate tonight.
Yeah, Darcy, we just saw quite a number of law enforcement vehicles actually leave the scene, and we looked in the back of all of the law enforcement vehicles. I did not see any suspect in the back of their vehicles We did not see, at least with my own eyes, I didn't see that 19-year-old suspect that they say was taken into custody. All of the officers you could see are behind me. We're on Hodge and Jean, as you mentioned, 2 blocks south of where police say they took the suspect into custody. But if you look behind me, you could just see how many officers have left the scene. This is where they set up the crime scene tape here at Hodge and Jean. There's a lot going on in this neighborhood. There's a couple dozen people out here just watching, just trying to figure out exactly what happened in their neighborhood. Let's see, we have another vehicle, another law enforcement vehicle. Looks like Memphis police leaving the scene. We've been looking in the back seats of all of the vehicles. I have not seen anyone in custody just yet, but every vehicle that leaves, every law enforcement vehicle that leaves, we are watching to see if they have that 19-year-old suspect in custody. This is another Memphis police officer approaching us, and we're looking in the back seats. No one in custody. So we are, of course, keeping our eyes peeled at every law enforcement officer that leaves the scene to see if we could get our first look at that 19-year-old suspect taken into custody. It has just been a very difficult day for Memphis. I think we can all agree that people asked to shelter in place in their homes. We have people all across this neighborhood who just an hour ago were told to shelter inside their homes because of this rapidly evolving situation. Again, that 19-year-old suspect who was allegedly making threats on social media, who police say was behind the various shootings for today. Earlier, we were at the AutoZone. We saw law enforcement vehicles driving at great speeds up and down the road. I believe it was Jackson. It was just a very chaotic day with a lot going on. Again, this crime scene tape is set up here at Hodge and Jean. We are about 2 blocks south of where police say they took that 19-year-old suspect into custody. If you look at the scene right now, not a lot of law enforcement vehicles. We can see one set of flashing lights from a vehicle, 2 other vehicles on scene. We don't know if they're law enforcement, but we just saw a good dozen law enforcement vehicles leaving the scene. This crime scene tape still up. They just put up this crime scene tape about 20 minutes ago, but we've seen people walking all up and down the roads, the sidewalks in this neighborhood. It's been a very eventful, chaotic day across Memphis, but with multiple places, as you've mentioned, on lockdown, from places of education to people's apartment complexes. But now police say they have that 19-year-old suspect in custody. This scene already looks much more quiet than it did about an hour ago. When we first arrived, there were dozens of law enforcement officers on scene, and many of them were in tactical gear. This has been an intense day for the city of Memphis. We've been watching everything unfold, just as you have, our viewers, just as you've been watching the news play out on social media, seeing it on your cell phone. We've been driving across all parts of town, trying to get you the information you need to keep your family safe. You can see, again, this crime scene tape here at Hodge and Jean. Officers there at Hodge and Ivan, about 2 blocks north of us. We just arrived on scene within the past hour. That shows just how rapidly this day has evolved. Every minute it seems as though there's been a new development, but the good news that we can report is that authorities say they have that 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Kelly, in custody after a day of terror on the streets of Memphis. People worried that they could even leave their homes. People worried about their loved ones. Multiple people shot. It's just a very heavy day for the city of Memphis. But the good news here is that authorities say they have that 19-year-old suspect in custody. When we arrived on scene, frankly, we did not know what would happen. We learned that police had encountered the suspect in this neighborhood, and we drove to the scene to try and get you the information that you needed as quickly as we could. Shortly after arriving here, authorities say they took that 19-year-old suspect into custody, Ezekiel Kelly. You could see that they still have this part of the neighborhood taped off, but again, plenty of law enforcement vehicles have actually left the scene. We've seen a good dozen or so leave in the past few minutes, but just about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, there was just a tremendous number of officers that you could see down here on Hodge. We do see another vehicle approaching us. We've been looking in the back seats of all of these law enforcement vehicles to see if we could see that suspect in the back seat. And so far, with all the vehicles that we've seen, we have not been able to see that 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Kelly. You could just see, I mean, there's a lot of commotion in this neighborhood. People, again, were just told to shelter in place about an hour ago. You could see another vehicle leaving the scene. We don't know if this is a law enforcement vehicle. It looks like there is an officer in the vehicle, but it's not an official vehicle. We're waiting to see. We want to get see if we can get our first look at that 19-year-old suspect who Daryl Darcy, authorities say, shot random people across Memphis. So again, we're just following everything as it develops in this neighborhood. So back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, that is Fox 13's Kate Beery, who has been on the scene for, I would say, the last hour or so right now, giving us an update. 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly, he's in custody tonight. This was an evening of brazen boldness, four crime scenes, terror, absolute terror for this community, and it was all unfolding for you and for us as well.
You literally listened to it mostly play out in real time right here on Fox 13. It was so chaotic. We certainly were going to put our camera crews in danger for one thing, and we didn't want to interfere with any police investigation for another. We're not just going to send cameras out into the wild, if you will, willy-nilly. But again, that suspect is in custody. The shelter-in-place order that was issued for the city of Memphis was lifted as soon as they announced that this individual was taken into custody. And we're understanding that the Memphis Police Department plans to address the media in some sort of a news conference, an impromptu news conference somewhere at some time this evening. Again, we do not know where, we do not know what time. And by the looks of what was going on behind Kate there, with so many officers now leaving that particular scene at Ivan and Hodge, I doubt seriously if that's where it's going to happen. Right. Because that scene is about to quickly deteriorate, if you will. It's about to go back to normal, and they're going to take the police tape down very soon, because they've already pulled that vehicle out, and that vehicle is strictly evidence. The vehicle wrecked out right there at Ivan and Hodge. Police were able to take this man into custody, and clearly he's already at 201 Poplar right now, I'm sure, in a booking room.
This was a long day. It all obviously ended at the intersection of Ivan and Hodge, but as we said earlier, it started around 4:30. This has been 5 hours.
5 hours in the
5 hours
5 and a half
of
now.
terror in this community, as everyone literally sat by their phones, sat by their TVs, just waiting to find out if this guy was going to be arrested and if he was going to be in custody. And as of 9:58, in fact, he is in police custody. He is off the streets tonight.
And we mentioned the Memphis City shelter-in-place order or idea has been lifted. University of Memphis campus has now given the complete all clear. They're now no longer asking their students, staff, and faculty members to shelter in place. It's hard to say that anything's okay right now, but for all intents and purposes, the immediate danger appears to be over, because this man is in custody after this violent spree that, for whatever reason, someone decided to take it out on Memphis. We do know this man had a warrant out for his arrest that was issued this morning on attempted first-degree murder charges, and that dates back to February of 2020. So he was 17 years old, when he was charged, or when he supposedly, allegedly, according to police and the district attorney's office, committed a murder. And now 19 years old, finds himself, as I said, in a booking room at 201 Poplar, facing God knows what charges right now, because we are still waiting to find out, beyond the one person we know was killed, beyond the one person we know was hit by a bullet, how many other victims this man had or might have had, allegedly had, tonight.
Yeah. It's been a very, very long night, but it has finally come to an end. 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly, he's in custody at this hour.
Fox 13 News at 10 starts now with breaking news.
To reset, we're still following that breaking news on Fox 13 News at 10. This is video of relief. Now, this is the scene in Whitehaven. Within the past hour, a man who went on a shooting spree was finally stopped by Memphis police and Shelby County Sheriff's deputies.
Our city was under siege because of this man, 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly. Police say he was literally driving across our city and recording himself live on Facebook as he randomly shot people.
Friends, our hearts are broken tonight. The city of Memphis deserves so much more than this kind of wanton violence, and that's putting it mildly, and the fear that we've been forced to live in because of actions like this. I'm Darrell Green.
And I'm Darcy Thomas. Now, we want to walk you through this evening. As you look at this video, this is the suspect we're talking about. This is 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly. walking into an AutoZone, opening up the door, raising his arm, and he randomly shot a man inside. Later, he moved on to a BP gas station, where we have learned that a man was shot and killed.
Another person was shot on Norris Road this evening near I-240, and since that shooting, police searched for the man in 3 different vehicles.
Now, we just learned that the second victim, who was carjacked in the spree, was a 17-year-old girl, and she was killed.
The suspect crashed at this location, Ivan and Hodge in Whitehaven. You can check it out here on the map. We've been committed to making sure that your family stayed safe and inside all evening. We've shared with you all of the warnings and the pleas from Memphis Police, the University of Memphis, all of them, to make sure that you were safe. Now, our team coverage at 10 will start with Fox 13's Kate Beery, live at the scene where this all ended. Kate?
Yeah, Daryl, we're here south of Jean and Hodge, where police have set up that crime scene tape. They say that the suspect was taken into custody 2 blocks north at Ivan and Hodge. This has been a very eventful day, as you have mentioned. Our team, our entire crew, off camera, on camera, has been going to multiple scenes all across Memphis, but it appears as though that day of violence has come to an end in this neighborhood. Again, that's Jean and Hodge, and police say they have that suspect in custody 2 blocks north at Ivan and Hodge. We've seen a lot of law enforcement officers leave the scene, but like you mentioned, it's been a very intense and scary day for many people across Memphis, told to shelter in their homes, told to stay home and avoid public places because police say that 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Kelly, allegedly targeted random people across town, just went into places of public and allegedly opened fire. People living in fear in their own city. It's been really hard to watch this. I mean, we saw this earlier, it seems, at the gas station near that AutoZone. People were just crowded together watching the videos that played out on social media that appears to be live streams of that violent attack. But again, here in this neighborhood, Jean and Hodge, is where police say they took that 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Kelly, into custody just about 20 minutes ago with law enforcement officers, and we saw them also been trying to get a good look inside the back seats.
Say, that ain't me, guys. That's them. That ain't me.
One of them has Kelly, that 19-year-old suspect, in custody. We have not seen anyone in custody as of yet, but people in this neighborhood have been walking outside their homes, trying to get a better look at the scene. Just an hour ago, these people were told to stay inside their homes because this was such an active investigation. We have been covering this now ever since the news broke. We went to the AutoZone. I don't see anyone inside that police vehicle. We've been trying to get a good look at all of the police vehicles that drive by us to see if they have that 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Kelly, inside their cars. We have yet to see that, but this neighborhood has quieted down. As you said, this day of violence has hopefully come to an end here in this neighborhood at Hodge and Ivan. You could see that there's at least 2 law enforcement vehicles beyond that crime scene tape. Police only put up that crime scene tape within the last half hour. There was a lot of people gathered by trying to get a peek at exactly what happened, but we know that this has been a day of violence for Memphis. It's been a day where people were afraid to leave their homes. They were afraid to get gas. So many people that police say were injured or even killed in public places. We will stay on top of this story and let you know exactly how it unfolds in the next hours. Daryl, Darcy?
Thank you so much, Kate. That's Fox 13's Kate Beery reporting for us tonight. In fact, I actually just got some video. This is from a friend of mine. They have family that live right there at Ivan and Hodge. And in the video, you can clearly see someone being arrested. They're in a white T-shirt and shorts, in fact, and they're being put in the back of a Memphis police unit. At this point, we are working to get this video for you and show it to you as well, but I believe that this is the suspect, in fact, that we have been dealing with. Yes, absolutely.
The description perfectly. All right, let's go out to Midtown at Poplar and McLean. That's where we find Fox 13's Lakia Scott. We know that there was an incident there as well. Lakia, a shooting Tell us about the scene right now. Is it still active? Because I saw at least 3 vehicles that it looked to be wrecked in that area.
That's right, Darryl. Well, as we've been reporting, that suspect is now in police custody. That shelter in place has been lifted. But as for now, where we are at Poplar and Auburndale, that scene has pretty much cleared up. It's somewhat still an active scene, but definitely not as many officers are here on the scene as there were the last time we spoke. There were multiple law
I've been told this is the arrest video right here. White t-shirt and shorts. I don't know who did this video, but somebody on Facebook, I want to give them their credit. But that's him right there. Thank you to the person that sent me this.
law enforcement agencies here tonight, including the Tennessee State Troopers.
To the parking lot, I'm told by an eyewitness that shooter never got out of his vehicle. He shot the man as he was sitting in his Toyota Camry, gray in color, right here in this parking spot. I want to show you this. This is video that I shot just a little while ago. This is the Toyota Camry. You can see it there that police towed away. Again, that is the Toyota Camry that the victim was sitting inside of when, again, I'm told by an eyewitness, the shooter came in off of College Street right near 240 and South Parkway East and shot him while he was in his car. I'm told by that eyewitness that the victim slumped over immediately, did not die right away, but died presumably shortly thereafter that shot. We're going to go ahead and send it back in to Darcy and Daryl.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson reporting tonight. Now, we do know that this guy, he had a history. We do know that there is a first-degree murder charge, criminal attempt murder charge from February 3rd, I believe, of 2020. The warrant, in fact, was issued today.
Yeah, that's all on the man accused of all these shootings tonight. Let's go to Fox 13's Kayla Solomon, breaking down everything that this man was charged with before tonight. Kayla, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so exactly like you mentioned, that first one is the criminal attempted first-degree murder charge. But some of the other charges that are all stemming from February 3rd, 2020 include aggravated assault, firearm with intent to commit a felony, as well as reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Again, we don't know exactly what this stems from, but we do know that we're digging to find those answers for you. But some of the other questions we have tonight are exactly what charges may be coming from today. So we do know that there's one person confirmed dead at this time, according to our Daniel Wilkerson. But again, we're still trying to get some answers onto what these charges stem from and what else we can find out about the suspect, 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly.
Okay, thank you so much. That's Fox 13's Kayla Solomon reporting for us tonight. Now, just to get some clarification, I believe that when Daniel Wilkerson, who's at the BB gas station, I believe he said that one person was shot there inside of his car, in fact. But also, during this rampage with Ezekiel Kelly, we've learned that he stole another vehicle, but there was a 17-year-old girl in that vehicle.
And killed.
Who was shot and killed as well. So right now we have at least 2 people who have been killed, 1 person that has been shot and was injured, and that happened at the AutoZone off of Jackson.
And we're very afraid that there are going to be more injuries and possibly worse. We're still waiting to get information from the Memphis Police Department. Of course, they just wrapped this up with an arrest less than an hour ago. Right there at Ivan and Hodge in Southwest Memphis. Excuse me.
Okay.
Let's go to Fox 13's Kate Beery, who is still there at the scene where this man was taken into custody. Kate, any update?
Daryl, we do not have any update for you at this hour. We are standing about 2 blocks south of where police say they took that 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Kelly, into custody. You can see that's Jean and Hodge where they have the crime scene tape set up, and then about a block north, 2 blocks north, I should say, is Ivan and Hodge, where police say they took that 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Kelly, into custody after a day of terror and fear across Memphis. Everyone we met that was out in the streets was just dumbfounded at this video that they were watching on social media. We met lifelong Memphians who were just at a loss for words that this violence could play out in just such random parts of the city. Police say that 19-year-old live streamed himself shooting random people across the city of Memphis, but that day of terror and fear in the city has thankfully hopefully come to an end, as authorities say they have that 19-year-old suspect in custody. In this neighborhood, we have seen plenty of law enforcement officers leave the scene. It's a lot quieter than it was when we first arrived. When we arrived, we weren't sure what to expect because the suspect was not yet in custody. We were first on scene here with Fox 13 in this neighborhood to bring you live coverage of what's happening so you had the knowledge to keep your family safe as this played out, this violence across the city of Memphis. We have seen plenty of officers leave the scene. Right now, probably that we can see 2-3 people behind the crime scene tape, 2-3 officers, I should say, as they work to investigate the scene, secure the scene. Again, that 19-year-old suspect taken into custody about 2 blocks north on Hodge and Ivan. When we arrived on scene, there were dozens of law enforcement officers. It was a sea of blue and white lights. The neighborhood was very tense. It was very on edge. Right now, things are much calmer. People are not walking around with that same level of fear that they were in the past hour. So again, this neighborhood right now, much quieter, people still walking around outside their homes, but thankfully not the intense situation that it was an hour ago as police work to get that 19-year-old suspect in custody who they say live streamed shootings across the city of Memphis in multiple corners of Memphis. We had the University of Memphis on lockdown. Even my apartment complex sent out a text that it was on lockdown. We had people who were just afraid to leave their homes as this violence played out in public streets. We know many of you are probably watching from the comfort of your living rooms. You are probably afraid to leave your home, but we can tell you at this hour that authorities say they have that 19-year-old suspect in custody who they took into custody around the area of Hodge and Ivan. But we know that you're following all the developments in this story, so I'm going to send it back to you, Daryl. Darcy.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Fox 13's Kate Beery reporting for us tonight. We are getting a picture of this guy, the suspect, and this is breaking news for us. We do need to warn you, he's smiling in the picture. This is after he is arrested. He is apparently in the back of a police car, but we do have a photo of the suspect this evening, in fact. This is 19-year-old. This is him. This is Ezekiel Kelly. This is the young man that has literally brought absolute terror to this community. This is the person that we know of that may be responsible for 2 people being dead at this hour, 1 person injured, bringing terror to this community, causing lockdowns, causing fear, causing frustration. People just don't understand his actions. But as of tonight, we do know he is now in custody. We know that there were 4 crime scenes today. This situation took us from the city of Memphis all the way down to South Haven.
And back.
Carjackings and back.
All right, let's go to Fox 13's Lakia Scott. She's on McLean Avenue right now. That's, again, another one of.
Well, we can lay that to rest. He was not in the back of the ambulance. Looked like he just fine to me, so we can lay that to rest. But, again, guys, like I tell y'all, man, mental illness is real, Don't water it down. Always take it serious. I don't know if this man mentally ill or whatever the case may be, or maybe whatever charges he had back in 2020 is starting to weigh heavy on his conscience. I don't know what happened. But I'm finna show y'all something in a minute to show you how some people is stupid, how they think stuff like this is a game. I'm finna show y'all something in a minute, and y'all tell me what y'all think about this.
Of these scenes where police say this individual, I'm not interested in this guy's name anymore. this individual went through there and at least caused. Lakia, do we know, was anybody injured there by gunfire? Because again, we saw at least 3 vehicles wrecked, but were the injuries that you saw the result of gunfire? Or can you tell?
Daryl, that has actually not been confirmed here, but what we are being told is that this scene here at Poplar and Auburndale, the reason that officers were here earlier tonight, because we're being told that in an attempt to evade authorities, the suspect kept swapping out his vehicles. This is one of those locations where he is said to have done that. We're told that we're hearing actually that he was actually here in this area. He carjacked a woman, from what we're told by sources, and forced her out of her vehicle. We're told that he shot the woman. That, again, has not been confirmed by authorities, but he took off in that vehicle earlier on tonight. Now, if you take a look back here behind this crime scene tape here again at Auburndale, you can see that officers are becoming fewer and fewer here in this area. They're breaking down this scene. It was once filled with multiple law enforcement agencies earlier tonight before they actually took that suspect in custody. Again, not as many officers right now covering this area. Again, 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly now in custody. We're told again that this area is one of the locations where he attempted to swap out one of those vehicles that he was driving in and carjacked a woman and took off in her car. Now, again, officers, they were once packing this street here. This is the intersection of Poplar 1700 block. They were here fully covering this area about an hour ago. And just to give you some perspective, we are near Oak Terrace. There's a Mapco and Joe's Wines that is at an intersection behind me, a Taco Bell, also India Palace, just to give you an idea of where we are on tonight. But again, this area here, right behind this crime tape, officers are clearing out, not as many, but again, still a crime scene van on the scene, still about 10 officers, cruisers that are still on the scene on this street here on Poplar and Auburndale. So apparently they are investigating something because this area is still blocked off with.
Okay, guys, I'm going to pause there for a minute because I think we got the gist of what's going on. All right. But I want y'all to look at this real quick. I don't know who this woman is. But the things that we do as people, not in Memphis, but all over the world, how we don't take things serious. I don't know how good y'all can see that. Apparently, this woman must know this dude. She says, Zeke Huncho, just gone come home, bae. I'm going to eat that junk all night. I'm going to suck whatever wrong with you up out of your stamp it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. That's one of the screenshots somebody sent me that this woman posted. Now, again, I don't know if she's being serious. I don't know if she's being funny. But I don't think either one of them is a good thing. I think it's quite stupid, if you ask me. Okay? It ain't funny at all, in my opinion. Not at all. Then she come back and do this right here and says they caught him. Free Zeke. Then after she posted that, before that, I'm not accepting friend requests at this time with laughing emojis or whatnot. Then to go even further, To go even further, the dude named Victor, whoever this dude is, said, "Where was you at yesterday when this nigga needed some pussy?" She come back and said, "I'm trying to help y'all. If he come with me, he won't be out shooting. And this is something you laughing at. This is funny to you." Then somebody named Chandler came back and said, "You weird as fuck." I'm saying the same thing. Then somebody else came back and said, "You fucked up." "Yes, you are, ma'am. Yes, you are, ma'am." And this is why I say, and this ain't only down here in Memphis, this is all over the place, that somebody would make dumbass jokes at a time like this. But then again, she might not be joking. She might be dead serious. Who knows? Y'all know they say a lot of women like the bad boys. So she may be serious in everything that she's saying. And this is why I say, the young generation, God help them. God help them. This is the best that this young lady got to offer this man who just did what he did, was to suck his dick and fuck him. That's the best you got to offer him. No counseling, no kind of help, no kind of anything. The best thing you got to give him is some sex. That's the best thing you got to give him, is some head. Young ladies, if this the best thing y'all got, then y'all not going to get very far. I'm sorry to say that. If this is the best that you got to offer for a person who is troubled, which it seems, y'all not going to go far. Yeah, y'all not going to go far at all. Okay? If anything, a lot of you, since you like the bad boys, you enabling the behavior. You're not helping at all. You're enabling it. Okay? But even if she is just playing, why would you play like this at a time like this? Why would you play like that? And salute to the people who calling her out. Salute to the people calling her out on that. All right? So I just wanted y'all to see this crap. I want y'all to see this, how people, the young generation in our era, takes nothing seriously. Everything is a fucking joke. But I guarantee you, if it was one of her family members he had shot, she won't be saying none of that shit. How many of y'all agree with me when I say that? If it had been one of her family members that he had a shot, she won't be saying none of that mess. This is why I say, I'm saddened for the young generation in this era. I am very sad for the young generation in this era. The people back in my era in the 80s and 90s, nah, they wouldn't be having none of this. They wouldn't be having none of this. But these young people nowadays, this man started crime at 17, and 2 years later. Right, D-Nut, where you been, homie? How you been, bruh? And 2 years later, here you go, doing this right here. And ma'am, this the best you got to offer him is some pussy and some head. Wow. That's sad.
With crime.
Lockdowns and shelter-in-place orders have been lifted. That's from the University of Memphis campus all the way through the city and AutoZone Park. They had locked down AutoZone Park for a while. They had told fans and players to shelter in place there at the park, but they lifted that very quickly after the MPD tweeted the all clear and everybody went home.
Daryl, we've spent about 6 hours now.
Yeah.
It was about an hour ago where the terror that has been happening across the city finally ended at Ivan and Hodge. In fact, we do have video tonight. This is cell phone video of this 19-year-old suspect being arrested.
He was taken into custody shortly after that, being booked at 201 Poplar right now, I'm sure, as we speak, probably questioned as well. The MPD has told us that we should expect some sort of a news conference at some point this evening. I believe that was the last word we heard just after 9:30. I'm not sure if that is still the case given the late hour. They may wait until the morning, or they may carry this through the night and give an update at some point this evening. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen there in the Whitehaven neighborhood at Ivan and Hodge, just off Rains, but We were expecting to get some word from the MPD and some indication on the timeline, confirmation of the timeline. And one of the things a lot of people really want to know about is how many people were injured, how many people were directly affected in this shooting spree. We do know, as we've pointed out time and time again over the past hour after we got confirmation, one man was killed at the BP station. Another young lady was killed during a carjacking, I believe, somewhere in Midtown, maybe near the Evergreen area. A 17-year-old girl was killed. And we know another person was injured there at the AutoZone store on Jackson Avenue, right there at Jackson and Wales. I doubt seriously if those are the only lives affected, because we also saw the ambulance there at McLean and Poplar.
Right.
Again, Lakea's been there.
We don't know if that's actually fully connected.
Lakeia was there very quickly after this happened, and we still don't know if those people were shot or possibly were involved in car wrecks, because we saw 3 wrecked cars there as this man ran from police.
But this city went into immediate action today. They shut the city down. They reminded everyone you need to stay in place, shelter in place between the city, Memphis police, law enforcement, University of Memphis. I mean, this city came together under an umbrella of just terror tonight.
And there's the arrest
violent
again.
Terror. But this is video of the arrest. This man here, 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly, behind bars.
Just to reset what got us here. Just after 4:30 this afternoon, police tell us that man shot someone at East Parkway South, there at a BP station. That's where it apparently started. He then moved on to another location, fired shots, hit someone else. That's when he went to Jackson at Wales, walked into the AutoZone. What do you have?
Actually have an update from that. This is a friend of mine. She's a friend of this person. She says, please pray for my beautiful friend. I'm not going to name her. Husband was shot at AutoZone by the guy who is randomly out there shooting people. Please pray for him.
Clearly injured.
Injured.
So he went from.
He says he's out of surgery, but he is not out of the woods just yet.
No, I'm sure that looked like a high caliber handgun that individual was firing. From there, he went to another location near I-240 in Norris, then went to Patterson and Southern at the University of Memphis campus just after 6:30. And that caused the University of Memphis campus to go on lockdown. Very soon after that, the Memphis Police Department realized that they had one individual who was doing all of this, and they asked people, because it was such a chaotic scene, they asked the entire city just to be on alert and shelter in place. So that takes us to him carjacking someone else and then going to South Haven, where he carjacked someone else again. Yeah. And forgive me, I know this is a little confusing. It's confusing to us too. As a matter of fact, I think we have a map, if we could pop it up, that helps to shine some light on this. And then what you don't see is him crossing State Line Road, getting back into Memphis sometime after 9 o'clock. Just off of State Line, he exited I-55 and went onto Rains Road, and then crashed running from police there at Ivan and Hodge, which is very near Rains Road. He was taken into custody just before 9:30 tonight.
It's just been busy. I mean, it was a busy, hellish day today.
And again, I saw part of this. I saw coming out of the Kroger area at Highland and Poplar, I saw police officers. So natural curiosity takes me eastbound on Poplar, more officers coming westbound on Poplar, and that's when I wound up on Highland. And I saw dozens and dozens of police cars and emergency responders heading north on Highland, trying to respond to some of these locations.
This was at the BP gas station where, because of Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson, we learned that one person here has been shot and killed. A man was sitting in his car.
At least 8 shell casings. Those markers. We got up to number 8. There could have been more. This is I-240 in Norris. Obviously, this is a traffic cam. We're not able to see a lot there, but that gives you an indication of where one of those shooting scenes was. Again, with no report of injuries there, but then that takes us to McLean and Poplar. And you can see in the background, as the officer stretches the crime tape, there is at least one individual there being treated to by paramedics, and we saw him later loaded into an ambulance.
Again, this is the arrest video of 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly. This all wrapped up tonight at Ivan and Hodge around the 9:30 hour. This is what this community has been waiting for. This man caused sheer terror and chaos across this community. We have been waiting for this since 4:30 this afternoon. He is now behind bars down at 201 Poplar. He's smiling now.
I don't care to ever see that picture again,
But he won't be smiling for long.
to be honest with you.
It's been a long day.
No,
It's been a
it
long
has
day.
been. Now, of course, tomorrow morning on Good Morning Memphis, we're going to continue our coverage overnight. We'll have the latest information as it becomes available from the Memphis Police Department.
You be safe. Hug your family. Hug your friends tonight.
And
It's been a long night. And thank you to the Memphis Police Department and all law enforcement that was out there to make this happen tonight.
And thank you for being with us.
Well, all right, guys. Well, I guess that's everything right there. Unless they come up with a police conference, but I probably won't be here to catch that, because I got to agree to go to work after a while. But again, I just want to tell y'all something. We just had a lady who was kidnapped the other day, and they just found her body. Then now this happens and whatnot. And this is why Memphis is gonna always stay on top of the map as one of the high crime cities. Some people gloat about it, and some people ain't too proud of it. Me, I'm not too proud of it, but the city is the city. It ain't the city, it's the people in the city. So you got people who is doing things like this and thinking that it's cool to do it. Then that's what they make this city out of. This city is their playground. So it's never the city, it's the people in the city. So I wish it could be better than what it was, but however though, let's just be real, it's crime everywhere you go. Just some cities and states, it may not be as bad, but it's crime everywhere you go. Just some cities and states are just more potent than other cities and states. All right. So yeah, I was sitting in the computer and somebody sent me that. I said, wow, this is crazy. Then when I saw the videos or the video what he did, I said, man, these folks are wild, man. They wild. And you wonder why people don't like to hang around a lot of people. Because of stuff like that. And again, and again, you got young ladies like that who's praising young men for doing that stupid shit. I just can't believe I saw that message. And like I say, even if she is playing, why would you even play like that? There's nothing to even play about. So you think that much of yourself, young lady, that a man who go out here and do all this, you think just that low of yourself that you want to have sex with a man who just did all that? Okay? You just think that much of yourself that the best thing you want to do with a man who just did all that is just give him some sex. You think that much of yourself, ma'am? You don't think you worth more than that, young lady? You don't think you work? You don't think you work more than that? And then you wonder why these young ladies like that be having all these damn children at a young age. Because I say the men will fuck anything, and I still stand on 10 toes down on that. But these young ladies will fuck anything too and get pregnant by anything. And every time a dick touch them, they get pregnant. I'm gonna be real tonight. Some of y'all might not like the language tonight, but I'm just gonna keep it real. Ain't no sense of sugarcoating it. It's just real shit. I always say men will fuck anything, and I'm gonna stand on that. But these young girls will do the same thing. But the crazy thing about them is it seems like the young ladies pump and dump. Letting the man come up in them, pumping them, and here come another baby. And here come another baby. And I hate that for the young generation. I hate that they think like that. Especially these young women. I hate that they think like that. Okay? I hate to see the young ladies think like that. So that's why when I talk to some men, When they had daughters, they tell me, man, Chris said, you say you want a little girl. He said, but I'm telling you, man, they a handful. You think kids a handful, period. But a lot of these girls is a handful, man, because you got a lot more stuff to deal with. All right? You got a lot more stuff to look out for. You know, so yeah. And they tell me all the time, my baby girl, she expensive. She's very expensive. All right? So you may want a girl, but trust me, bro, you got a whole lot to deal with. You got a whole lot to deal with. And I say, you know what? He may be right. He may be right. He just may be right. But I don't know because I don't have any children. But he do have, this guy who I was talking to, he do have children. He had a little girl. Pretty little girl too. Pretty precious little girl. And he told me, bro, nah, they a handful, bro. They a handful. So that's why a lot of people say, and I'm going to be one of them say this too, it is very important that you got two parents in the household, whether it's a male or a female. It is very important that you have both parents in the household. Very important. But it sounds like we don't have a lot of households that have that nowadays. So I don't know. But today, young lady, I hope somewhere down the line that you would think about what you said in them posts. And what are you playing is serious? I hope you say to yourself one day, I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more than this. All right? I am worth more than that. Because again, young lady, if that's your way of thinking for being with somebody or want somebody in your corner, you're not going to go anywhere far. I guarantee you that. As a matter of fact, I hate to say this, you may be one of a guys like him victim. You may be his next victim. You think like that. You may be one of his next victim. So keep that in mind too, dear. Keep that in mind. All right. Y'all, thank y'all for listening, and I'll try to keep y'all updated as much as possible. And thank God he's been caught. I'm your man, Chris Thorns, and hey, I'm gonna go. Actual super predator. Hope they doesn't get into one. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. All right, guys, y'all take it easy out there. Be safe, and let's just hope we don't have a copycat out there. All right. Peace.